All right, let's talk about psychological manipulation. Now, this isn't going to be a masterclass in how to deceive people. Oh no. Think of this as your own personal armor. It's a guide to awareness, to self-defense. It's about learning how to see the strings before someone else tries to make you a puppet.
You know that feeling, right? You walk away from a conversation and you just feel off. Kind of confused, maybe a little off balance, like you just agreed to something you didn't really want to. You feel like you've been played, but you can't quite put your finger on how it happened. Well, that's the signature of subtle manipulation at work.
So what is it exactly? Well, at its core, manipulation is all about indirect influence. It's not a straightforward, hey, can you do this for me? No, it's sneakier. It's a strategic game that exploits your emotions, your natural biases, even social pressure, to nudge you toward a decision you wouldn't normally make. And you know why it's so effective? Because our brains are wired to take mental shortcuts, and manipulators are experts at hijacking them.
Okay, so let's dive into the most common type of manipulation first: attacks on your emotions. These tactics are aimed squarely at your heart, not your head. They're designed to use your own feelings against you.
First up is one of the most insidious ones out there: gaslighting. This is a deliberate, calculated attempt to overwrite your reality. The whole goal is to make you question everything: what you saw, what you heard, what you know in your gut, until you start to believe their version of events is more reliable than your own. It's incredibly damaging.
And it often sounds so simple, so dismissive. You hear phrases like this, or "you're being too sensitive," over and over again, and they start to chip away at your confidence. Eventually, you can start to feel like you're losing your grip, which is exactly the point.
So, how do you fight back against something like that? You have to create your own source of truth. Write things down, keep a record, talk to a trusted friend, get that outside perspective. And most important of all, trust the pattern. If someone is constantly making you doubt yourself, that pattern is the reality you need to trust, not their words.
Next, we've got a classic that I'm sure we've all run into: the guilt trip. This tactic basically weaponizes your own conscience. It creates this feeling of emotional debt, this obligation, making you feel that the only way to get rid of that uncomfortable feeling is to just give in.
Oof! We've all heard some version of this, right? It's a killer line. It's designed to make you feel instantly ungrateful and indebted. It reframes whatever they're asking for into a test of your loyalty, putting you on the defensive right away.
The defense here is a simple but powerful mental exercise. You have to be a surgeon. Separate the request from all the emotional baggage they've attached to it. Then just ask yourself, would I agree to this if there was zero guilt involved? If the answer is no, well then you know the guilt is doing all the heavy lifting.
All right, now for a tactic that's really tricky because, well, at first, it feels incredible. Love bombing. It's basically an emotional ambush, a tsunami of affection, compliments, and attention that makes you feel like you've found the most perfect person ever in record time. But that intense connection, it's really just building a foundation for them to control you later on.
And what's so hard about spotting love bombing is that any of these things in isolation could seem nice. But when it's all of them, all at once, and it's happening incredibly fast, that's the giant red flag. We're talking I've never met anyone like you on the first date, or making huge promises about the future within a week.
So the crucial defense here is this: it's not about what they're saying, it's about how fast it's all happening. A genuine connection takes time to grow. A connection that feels like it's going from 0 to 100 in just a few days, that is a massive warning sign. Pace is everything.
Okay, let's switch gears. We've talked about attacks on your heart. Now let's get into the traps that are set for your head. These are the techniques that exploit your brain's natural and usually very helpful desire to be consistent and logical.
And here we have two tactics that are really just two sides of the same coin. With foot in the door, they start small. They get you to say yes to something tiny, which makes you way more likely to say yes to a bigger request later, because your brain wants to stay consistent. Then you've got door in the face, which is the total opposite. They ask for something huge they know you'll say no to, so when they follow up with their real, smaller request, it seems totally reasonable in comparison.
So how do you beat both of these? It's actually pretty simple. You have to hit the reset button with every single new request. Don't let a past yes or a past no influence what you're deciding right now. Just isolate the current request and ask, does this make sense for me, right here, right now?
Next up is a trap you see absolutely everywhere, every single day: false urgency.
This tactic is all about creating panic. By making you feel like time is running out, it just bypasses the rational part of your brain and pushes you to make a quick, impulsive decision.
I mean, from online shopping to car sales, these phrases are the manipulator's best friend. They create that fear of missing out, or FOMO, which is such a powerful motivator. It makes us want to act now, before we've had a real chance to think things through.
Here is your mantra to fight back. Just tell yourself this: if it's a genuinely good decision now, it will still be a good decision after I've slept on it. True value doesn't just evaporate in 5 minutes. Giving yourself permission to wait, that is your greatest weapon against this.
Okay, so we've covered tactics that target your heart and tactics that target your head. But what if I told you there was one simple, universal principle that could act as a shield against almost all of them?
That's right. For all the different ways someone might try to manipulate you, the defense often boils down to one simple change in your approach. Just one.
And here it is. This is the master key. Slow it down. Seriously, think about it. Nearly every single form of manipulation relies on speed, on rushing you past your own critical thinking, your own gut feelings. By simply introducing a pause, you take all that power back. You give your rational brain a chance to catch up and ask the right questions.
And in that pause, that moment you've created for yourself, here's your checklist. First, identify the feeling. Am I feeling guilty right now? Scared? Flattered? Second, take away the pressure. What would I do if this wasn't an urgent decision? And third, follow the money, so to speak. Who really benefits the most if I agree to this quickly?
We've covered a lot today, from emotional attacks like gaslighting to logical traps like false urgency. But it all comes back to that one universal shield. So I want to end this with a single most important question you can arm yourself with.
Always ask yourself this, every time you feel that pressure. And if the answer isn't me or both of us, then it's time to slow down, take a step back, and look a little closer for the strings, because now you know exactly what to look for.